Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unity on the Rivers Sunday morning virtual service for January 31st, 2021. I'm Rev Ogun Holder, Senior Minister. So glad that you've taken the time, wherever you are or whenever you are, to watch the service, connect with us, be inspired by us, and share some love and light into the world. Let's begin with a centering prayer. If you are comfortable, I invite you to close the eyes. Take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. Place the hand on the heart and simply feel that connection with that center of your being. Taking in another breath. In the midst of all that swirls around us, we find a place and a moment of gratitude. Gratitude that no matter what, we are here to be the fullest expression of God that we can be. We are the divine, made real, made felt, made seen, made heard. And no matter what the conditions that come our way, they are simply opportunities for us to be the light and the love of God. Opportunities for us to heal ourselves, to love ourselves, discover more and unfold more of the Christ within. So we hold that intention today, tomorrow, every day as we go forth. We are all that God is, and we are grateful. So it is, and so we let it be. So as always, we have a fantabulous music team here with us. We got music director Meg Rain, Christine on percussion. We got the boys in the shed, Brian and Keith. I've been working on a title for Meg and Christine. I don't know how you feel about this. We got the boys in the shed. What do you guys think about ladies in the lounge? Does that work?
Okay.
That work?
Here we are.
We'll keep shopping
It's
it.
not ladies who lunch.
No. So I will now turn it over to the ladies in the lounge, Meg and Christine.
All right.
We are all one. Take it away.
Ladies in the temple. We are in the temple. Hey, good morning, beautiful Unitics. We all are one. We all are one. We are the same person. I'll be you, you be me. We all are one. Same universal world. I'll be you, you be me. We all are one. We are the same person. I'll be you, you be me. Yeah. We all are one. Same universal world. I'll be you, you be me. No matter where we are born, we are human beings. The same chemistry with emotions and feelings all corresponding in love, compatible. You can't get around it no matter how hard you try. You better believe it. And if you should find out that you are no different than I, reply. We all are one. We are the same person. I'll be you, you be me. Yeah. We all are one. Same universal world. I'll be you, you be me. One more time. We all are one. We are the same person. I'll be you, you be me. Yeah. We all are one. Same universal world. I'll be you, you be me. The only difference I can see is in the conscience and the shade of our skin. Doesn't matter, we laugh, we chatter, and don't we smile? We all have hope and the feelings that make all those faces always renew. So true, so true. And would you believe it that I have the same feelings too? Same as you. We all are one. We are the same person. I'll be you, you be me, yeah. We all are one. I'll be you, you be me, yeah. We all are one, same universal world. I'll be you, you be me, yeah, yeah. Yeah, take it away, boys.
This is the power of love from Don Rhodes. Well, blessed are you when you don't have much to say. Blessed are you when you feel like you've lost your way. Blessed are you when you're misunderstood and good is all that you're thinking of. Well, blessed are you when you live in the power of love. For you are the salt of the earth, and the time it is now. Well, you got things to do with your life, but you just don't know how. You can let your light will shine from a hill when you connect it to the light from above. You can do it all when you live right in the power of love. Yes, you can do it all when you live in the power of love. Oh, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. They shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the pure at heart, for they shall see God. They shall see God. And blessed are the ones who sacrifice now. Blessed are the ones who serve. Well, blessed are you when you live in the power of love. Yes, blessed are you when you live in the power of love. Consider those birds in the air, see how they fly. Consider those lilies in the field, they don't even try. And in the middle of the riddle of good and bad, just give your heart to the dove. Like a bird or a flower, you can live in the power of love. Yes, blessed are you when you live in the power of love. For you can have it all when you live in the power of love. Just like a bird or a flower, you can live in the power of. You can have it all when you live in the power of. Blessed are you when you live in the power of love.
Thank you, Keith. Beautiful. The power of love. Speaking of love, before I get into my talk, I want to thank all of you for the outpouring of love that you have showered on me since my sharing last week about resigning from Unity on the River. It's been overwhelming, to say the least. Couple of you sent me messages and emails that have truly touched my heart, moved me to tears, and I appreciate it. And I am looking forward to my last couple of months here, continuing to bask in the love that you send my way. It's been an interesting process recently, the last few months, because as we've been going through this book of radical acceptance, I think one of the things I may have shared with you before, either on Sunday or in Wednesday night group or somewhere, it's all blending together, is that part of my journey of deep acceptance of myself and my own challenge of unworthiness is accepting that I deserve to be loved the way people love me. I am worthy of unconditional and deep love. And I've always been uncomfortable with that. I didn't believe I was worthy to receive that. And as much as work as I have done around that, it's been fascinating to watch myself in the last few months, especially with the new relationship I'm in, and someone who's really challenging me with that in the way she demonstrates love. That it's been pushing my unworthiness buttons. So I want to let you know that in sharing with me how much you've loved and connected with me over the years, and your sadness at my departure and stuff like that. It's been taking me to a place of challenging that deep story I'd still tell myself of my own unworthiness. So thank you. Thank you for providing those opportunities for me to grow even further and accept. And this is the whole journey we're doing with this radical acceptance. Little secret, us ministers, we only preach the lessons that we need to hear ourselves. So clearly I needed to hear this message, and thank you for reinforcing that I am worthy of love. And if you've missed our last 3 talks, and you're just jumping in this series for the first time, this is talk number 4 in this journey of radical acceptance. Today's we're going to talk about the trance of fear. But just a brief catch you up sort of recap. When we're talking about radical acceptance, we're talking about awakening from this trance of unworthiness that we find ourselves in. This idea that we're not good enough. That if people truly find out our deepest faults, we will be rejected, and so therefore we don't even want to face our faults, and we kind of put up this appearance that we think will make us more lovable. And it's a difficult place to be in. It's not an authentic place to be in. Radical acceptance is about accepting everything about ourselves and our lives. And it's an inner experience. It's not saying that everything that's happening outside of us is okay and we allow it. No, that's not what it's about. It's about realizing that what's happening within us is okay. When we feel the discomfort in our body and the feelings that arise from it, we accept those with mindfulness and compassion. And it's only then we can do that we can begin to go, well, where's that wounded place in me that got triggered that's making these feelings arise? And then we can do the work of healing those deep wounds. Some of us have been carrying these wounds for decades, for our whole life. And the first step we talked about was about just learning to pause. When we feel discomfort and feelings arise, we are in this habitual motion of trying to fix it, trying to get rid of the thing that's causing the pain, trying to distract ourselves by doing all sorts of things, fixing, worrying, shopping, mindless scrolling on the phone, all those sort of things. Pausing allows us to disrupt those behaviors. And then we can become truly aware of what's happening in the body, which is the ground of radical acceptance. And it takes us to those feelings. And beyond those feelings, the Buddha says mindfulness of the body leads to happiness in life and the fullness of spiritual awakening. And part of what keeps us in this trance of unworthiness is that we think pain is bad and we want to avoid the pain that comes up. Pain isn't bad. Pain is just pain. We've made it bad. You know what I always say? We are meaning-making machines, and we want to ascribe a meaning to pain. But what happens is we don't also want to avoid the pain we're experiencing. We want to avoid any future pain. And we try to do a lot of work to avoid future pain. And when I say future pain, really, that's what fear is. Think about it. Fear is the anticipation of pain yet to come. We imagine that we're going to feel pain, and that's what fear is. And therefore, we do what we can to try to avoid it. Now, that in itself is not a bad thing. I mean, that was very useful, millennia ago. Anticipating dangers was what kept us alive. When we had that fight or flight response, and that's what allowed us to survive. But what has happened over the thousands of years is that fight or flight, that anticipation of pain response kept working overtime. And based on our own personal history, we sort of begin to imagine what might go wrong in the future. And it becomes a very real thing for us. And we get stuck in fear. It's what I call worry. Worry is misuse of the power of our imagination. And when we imagine what can go wrong and we're worrying, it generates that feeling of anticipation of pain. It generates fear, and we get stuck in it. And what happens with fear, the imagined future fear or even present fear we might be feeling, is that the real cause of it, we may not even know. We just feeling it. And often it's because we are anticipating, again, that we're going to lose something that's important to us, that's essential to us and our happiness. And it's only when we pause in the midst of fear, instead of hurrying to try and get rid of the fear, that we can realize that we can go like, what is that thing I'm afraid I'm going to lose here? Or who am I afraid I'm going to lose? And when we take the time to drill down beneath the fears and keep asking ourselves, why am I afraid to lose that? And why am I afraid to lose that? What ultimately it comes down to is the granddaddy of all fears, which is death, separation from life itself. That ultimately lies at the bottom of every single fear that we have. Fear is also fueled by shame and unworthiness. So when I believe there's something wrong with me, then I can easily convince myself that, yeah, I'm in some sort of danger, even if it's just an imagined danger. And then what happens is that shame and unworthiness fuels fear, which fuels shame and unworthiness, which fuels fear. And we are like caught in this like downward spiral of fear. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I notice myself that my reaction to the fear I generate around what's happening in the present moment is often out of proportion. You ever had something really insignificant happen, and then all of a sudden you were just like all over the place, and people are looking like, dude, it's not all that. What's going on? Right? But part of this is what happens is that we've accumulated a lot of the fears from the past, connecting to whatever might be triggered in that moment. So let me give you a real life example. As I mentioned, I'm in a new relationship. What's the biggest fear that I have in being in a new relationship? Losing that person, right? Isn't that one of the underlying fears for any of us in a relationship? I'm afraid to lose that person. I'm afraid the relationship might end. And that fear is probably based on all the previous relationships that ended in the past that didn't go well, that we thought might have gone well, or we didn't want to end. So we've got that story built up that, you know what, this could come to an end. Well, yeah, it could, but that's not the point. The point is that if we see that and judge that and assign meaning to that, then we generate a fear around that. So now we are in a relationship living from fear that it might end, and we respond from that fear. Well, maybe we don't at first, right? We put our best foot forward and we pretend it's not there and try to cover it up, and then all of a sudden that person does something so innocuous, and all that fear just comes up all at once, and they're like, wait, what just happened? I just left the dirty glass on the counter. Why is all of this happening right now? Right? It's because all that fear that was built up before suddenly is triggered. So here we are, living in fear. So So now we're in the trance of unworthiness, fueled by the trance of fear. So we've been talking about awakening from the trance of unworthiness. So how do we awaken from the trance of fear or find refuge from fear? So part of realizing that the fear is mostly imagined is having a sense of belonging and connection with others. That's part of how we start to transform this. We can initially find a sense of safety in belonging with others. And this truly comes from when we share our stories about the things we fear with each other. Because when we do that, we realize, first of all, we're not alone. If you've ever thought that I'm the only person who fears this, that's not true. Somebody else is in that same boat as well. So this is the power of sharing your story. And not that others are going to give you a solution, because there's really nothing to fix in the first place. But there is that sense of I am not alone in this. There's a sense of camaraderie, and that helps at the beginning. But the true safety and freedom from fear lies within us. In Buddhism, they talk about the three refuges, the three refuges, I can speak, of fear or from fear. There's refuge in the Buddha, refuge in the Dharma, and refuge in the Sangha. The Buddha is referring to mostly our awakened nature, the Christ nature within. The Dharma is the path or the way, and the Sangha is spiritual community. So let me take a moment to look at each of these. So when we talk about refuge in the Buddha, we are referring to a lot of different things, but mostly, if I want you to get anything from that one, is we're finding refuge in our Christ nature, in our divinity, the truth of who we are. And it's not about getting rid of the fear. It's realizing that the truth of who we are beneath everything else is divinity, which is love. So the idea is instead of trying to push fear away, we just let go of fixating on the fear and realize that the love that we ultimately are is vast enough to hold us and the fear together. So we just let go and fall into love, if that makes sense. And again, what I mean by that is we don't resist the fear, we accept that it's there. And remember that that's not the truth of who we are. And we try to connect with that love that we really are. And how do we do this? We do this through the Dharma, or the path. This is, loosely it means this is the way of things, the way things are, the law of nature. It also means the body of teachings and practices that reveal the truth of who we are. So what are those teachings and practices that help us remember and reveal the truth of who we are? Meditation is one of them. Literally being out in nature is one of them. Singing, dancing, all these things, all these practices, the unity principles, the 12 powers, everything, every sermon I've ever given, every talk any spiritual teacher has ever given, any book about spirituality you've ever read, all of these are the body of teachings. These are the Dharma that help us remember who we truly are. So when you find yourself in a position where the fear is really rising up within you, if it's at all possible, connect with someone who reminds you about the truth of who you are. But then also remember the teachings and get into some practice right away. And the easiest practice we've talked about before, the pause, the sacred pause. Just pause, breathe, check in with the body, spend some time just sitting in the silence. These are practices that help us awaken from that trance of fear, realize our true nature, and pay attention to ourselves. And finally, there's the Sangha, refuge in the Sangha, the spiritual community, those who are also walking this path of spiritual freedom and doing the work to liberate ourselves from these trances. And we're not just referring to, those of us here at Unity on the River. We're referring to anyone in the world who is on this path of not believing the fear is real, not buying into the ways of the world as we know them, but simply realizing that there is more than meets the eye. And they're all on the journey of unfolding what is within. There's a certain connectedness that comes with that, a certain sense of belonging. The Buddha also writes that our fear is great, but greater still is the truth of our connectedness. And more so than ever now, at a time when we can't gather in person together, that connectedness is still there. Each and every person that you've missed from this spiritual community is a phone call away, an email away, a text away, a FaceTime away, a Zoom call away. We're all still here. We can all still connect. We all do still connect, some of us. Speaking of connection, Wednesday night, 7 p.m., join me on Zoom to take a deeper dive into this material. And we sit and talk and share and meditate and realize that we are a body, a community together. We are the Sangha. And when we come together and share, we do find some safety, some refuge from the fear that runs in our minds. And then when we can find some refuge, again, the refuge is not about hiding from the fear or avoiding it or resisting it. It's just returning us as the individual to a place of feeling safe and not feeling hijacked by the fear. And then when we get to that place of safety, then we can take it to the next level, which is to lean into the fear. And this is really something that seems antithetical to what we're trying to do, right? We are in this habit of trying to avoid the fear, to get rid of the fear. But the true freedom lies on the other side of leaning into the fear. And leaning into the fear or letting it go or accepting it is at the center of our spiritual awakening. It doesn't mean we get lost in the fear by diving head into it and trying to confront it. No. Leaning in simply means that we're creating a new pattern of inviting or moving towards the thing that we usually resist. So you've heard that saying in Unity a lot, and in New Thought and spiritual movements. What we resist persists. And a lot of folks think about that as an outward sort of motion. You know, if we keep speaking out and fighting against things out there, then that means we're giving them life and we're giving them fuel and we're going to make them keep going. No, that's not what that saying means. That's a saying about our internal struggle. When we resist the fear and the discomfort that within us, all we are doing is making that keep going. Because our work is to transform what's happening out there. There's a lot of injustice in the world. Our job is to resist doing the injustice. Our job is to transform the injustice and make a world that's more equitable for everyone. Our job is to fight against racism, sexism, ageism, all the isms. And when we say fight against, what I'm saying is our job is to say, no, those are not okay. We have to create a world based on love. But we can only do that mindfully when we ourselves are grounded in love. And we can only do that when we have awakened from that trance of fear and unworthiness. So how do we lean into it? How do we create a new pattern of moving towards the fear instead of running away from it? Because that's our usual pattern. Let's run away from, avoid the fear. So how do we lean into the fear? Or again, just create a new pattern of interacting with it. First of all, we've got to move away from the mental stories we create about the fear and what might result if we do the thing we're afraid of. Again, worry, the misuse of our imagination. And when fear is triggered, we can, just like snap of a finger, come up with all the worst case scenarios. Do you ever wonder why, even though we have this limitless power of imagination, we rarely spend the time coming up with the 3,000 ways it might go well? We spend a lot of time thinking about the ways it can go wrong. Because we're stuck in the fear, and that's what the fear tells us. It can go wrong and you will be hurt, so let's try to protect you from the pain. But those are all imagined stories. And half the time when you get to the other side of it, none of those things ever happened. They ever came true. But we forget that when a new fear arises. So let's begin to recognize when those stories pop up and begin to challenge those stories that say what might go wrong and how we might be hurt. Allow yourselves to sort of like drop under the stories and the thoughts and connect to the feelings in the body again and notice what they're trying to tell you. And then drop under those and just keep going down till you get to the core, to the main fear. And then when you do that, just simply pause in it. Accept that this is a fear that you have, whatever that core fear is, just pause in it. And let it take you to whatever that original wound is that's still driving. And breathe some love into it. Breathe some forgiveness into it. Allow yourself to realize that that wound does not define you. What defines you is the truth of divine love that you are. The other side of leaning into the fear is freedom. And when we stop tensing against life, we open to an awareness that is immeasurably large and suffused with love. It's probably one of my favorite passages from the whole book. When we stop tensing against life, we open to an awareness that is immeasurably large and suffused with love. The only way we will get past the fear is to lean into it. You're familiar with that saying, what's in the way is the way. What's in the way is the way. So this is the practice for this week. We're gonna go into meditation a little bit, but I want you as you go through this week to notice when fear arises. And you'll notice it in your body. Your body will tell you probably before your mind does. When the fear arises, pause. Take a breath. Check in. Notice the stories that you have made up about this thing that you may be afraid of, whether it's a new story or an old story that you've been carrying around for decades. Just notice the story. And then begin to drop under the story. And connect again with the body. And keep getting below the stories that you have made up. Until you get to that place of truly feeling what's the hurt and sit with it. This is leaning into fear. This is the beginning of finding freedom. So we're going to do a meditation that will sort of take us there a little bit. So I invite you to, even though I'm saying we're going to go to where the fear is, you're probably getting some fear arising right now. So I invite you to breathe into that. Know that this is a safe space. And know that at the end of it, you want to connect with me, I'm here. I'm a phone call away. I'm an email away. And we can connect and talk about this. You're not alone in the fear. You never are. So I'm going to invite Meg to take us in to that place with I am the life of God. So while she sings, I invite you to find a spot that's comfortable, sitting down or lying down. Just gently close the eyes and just begin to connect with the breath and the body as Meg sings.
I let go with every breath I take. I go deeper with every breath I take. I let go with every breath I take. I am the faith of God. of God. I am the face of God. I am the joy of God. I am the life of God. I let go with every breath I take. I go deeper with every breath I take. I let go with every breath I take. I go deeper with every breath I take.
So let us continue to let go. Let us continue to connect with the breath. Allow your attention to notice in this moment the easy flow of breath. Also notice any places of tension and discomfort in the body. And simply breathe into them. Without judgment, allow them to soften with the breath. Just breathe. Follow each breath as it dissolves into open space. Feel that your entire body and mind can follow the out-breath as it dissolves into space. As the breath comes in, simply rest in the openness, listening. And let go with the exhale into awareness. Let's just breathe as we continue to open, to soften. And as we keep resting in this natural awareness and openness, bring to mind a situation that evokes fear. gently ask yourself, what is the worst part of this situation? What am I really afraid of? Your asking may bring up his story, and let's stay alert to the sensations that arise in our body as we sit in the question, what am I really afraid of? Pay particular attention to the throat, the chest, the stomach, and discover how fear expresses itself in you. As you breathe in, let the breath directly touch the place of most pain and vulnerability. Bring your full attention to the sensations of fear. And as you breathe out, sense the openness of space that holds your experience. Feel the fear as if floating and untwisting itself in this openness. With each in-breath, feel your willingness to gently connect with the waves of life that are unpleasant and disturbing. And breathing out, let go and feel how the waves of fear belong to a larger world, an ocean of openness. You can surrender your fear into this vast and tender space of healing. Breathing out, you realize you're belonging to the boundless awareness that has room for all of life's fears. Remember the spaciousness of the world. Connect with compassion to all others at this moment, feeling fear. Breathe. Breathe and dissolve into the openness, the spaciousness of the love that moves in through you, the world. Let us rest in this. Breathing in, feeling the fear. Breathing out, letting it dissolve into the openness of love for a few moments in the silence. As we practice leaning into fear, we begin to awaken from the trance of unworthiness. And we accept ourselves fully. We heal ourselves fully. And we realize that we are part of the ever-abundant flow of good that is God. So as we bring our attention from the silence we remember to hold this practice, the breath of the body, and trust that we are always in the flow. So we ground this time with the song from Brian, God is a River.
In this ever-shifting water of the river of this life, I was swimming, seeking comfort, was wrestling waves to find a boulder I could cling to, a stone to hold me fast, where I might let the fretful waters of this river around me pass. So I found an anchor, a blessed resting place, a trusty rock I called my savior, for there I would be safe. From the river and its dangers I proclaimed my rock divine, and I prayed to it protect me, and the rock it did reply. God is a river, not just a stone. God's a wild raging rapids and a slow meandering flow. God's a deep and narrow passage and a peaceful sandy shore. God is the river, so let go. Still I clung to my rock tightly, with conviction in my arms, never looking at the stream to keep my mind from thoughts of harm. But the river kept on coming, kept on tugging at my legs, till at last my fingers faltered and I was swept away. So I'm going with the flow now, these relentless twists and bends, acclimating to the motion and the sense of being led. And this river's like my body now, it carries me along through the ever-changing scenes and by the rocks that sing this song. God is a river, not just a stone. God's the wild raging rapids and the slow meandering flow. God's a deep and narrow passage and a peaceful sandy shore. God is the river, so let go. God is a river, not just a stone. God's the wild raging rapids and the slow meandering flow. God's a deep and narrow passage and a peaceful sandy shore. God is the river, so let go. God is the river, so let go.
It's beautiful, Brian. Perfect song to remind us to let go and trust the flow of love that is God. So a few announcements before we bring service to a close today. Just a reminder that the next congregational dialogue with Martha Creek is happening this evening, Sunday the 31st at 6 p.m. Join us on Zoom for that. The links are on our website, and those continue on Thursdays, 10 a.m., February 11th and 25th. And then a couple more Sunday evenings as well, February 14th and the 28th. So hope to see you this evening, 6 p.m. Couple of classes you can still get in on. As I mentioned in the talk, Wednesday nights, that Radical Acceptance book study and meditation, 7 p.m., where we take a deeper dive, do some more meditation together. It's turning out to be a powerful experience of folks sharing together. And also Cast, the Origins of Our Discontent. The class started this past Tuesday, but you can join any week. And as we continue our work to ask what is ours to do to create a society that is based on equality and equanimity, not on systemic racism, this is a powerful book to help educate us. We are still looking for some folks who are interested in joining the board of trustees. We're going to have 3 openings coming up pretty soon, and also a new communications director to handle like updating our website, social media, the newsletter, stuff like that. If you have any interest, give me a call. Reach out to me if you have any interest in serving on the board. Let the board know. Email them at board15, that's board15 at unityontheriver.org. And my email, Rev Ogun, REVOGUN, at unityontheriver.org. As always, stay connected to what's happening by visiting our website. We are still also doing Wednesday morning meditations at 9. And please subscribe and get our newsletter, which drops into your inbox every Friday morning. And text alerts to remind you of events happening a few hours before they start. If you're not signed up for text alerts, please text UOTR for Unity on the River, UOTR to 313131, and you will get text alerts for what's going on. More and more people are signing up for the text alerts and showing up to things with, and they say like, oh my God, I totally forgot. And then I got the text alert. So here I am. So please sign up for our text alerts. It's the quickest way to get reminded about what's going on. As always, thank you for continuing to invest in our spiritual community so that we can continue to provide the services that we do with our online services and our classes and all the other things that we do. Head over to unityontheriver.org/donate, or you can mail us a check to the office, 14 Cedar Street, Suite 203 in Amesbury. Or again, the easiest way, text to give from your phone. If you've not set this up yet, text the word GIVE, G-I-V-E, to 833-702-43. Why don't I have that last number? Okay, this is what happens when you copy and paste the script. But I'm going to get it for you right now because I have it on one of my, what do you call it? One of my, in my contacts. I actually have a contact called Unity Tithe, and the number comes up. It's 833-702-4337. And once you do the one-time setup, for this that takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Then anytime you want to send a tithe, you just simply text your amount to that number and boom, that's it. It's that simple to send a donation in from your phone. And we thank you for your generosity, for your abundance. By the way, if letters for your donations from 2020 should be coming to you, if you haven't already received them, they're on their way. The IRS requires that we send you a letter if you have donated $250 or more. If you have not received the letter and you think you should be getting one, please, excuse me, please let us know in the office and we will work that out with you. So again, these are for your 2020 donations. So I think that's it for today. Thank you as always for connecting with us. If you are watching this on Sunday morning and it's not 11 o'clock yet, please join us for Zoom hospitality at 11 a.m. Eastern. Where you can connect with other people in the community in real time, and we'll be checking in with each other and also just sharing how we're doing. And as always, it's good to see the faces who show up from week to week. The link for that is on our website, unityontheriver.org. Doesn't matter if you're a few minutes late, join us. Zoom hospitality. So let us energetically hold hands with each other, cross space and time. There's no time in God. And let us share the truth. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. My joyous vow to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me.
And our prayer for protection, the light of God surrounds us.
We are the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
We are the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
We
We are the power of
The
God.
presence of God watches over us.
We are the presence of God.
Together, wherever
Wherever we are,
God is,
God is,
all
and
is
all
well.
is well.
And we
are richly blessed. The Dames in the Den. That's the new one.
The Dames in the Den. I like it.
Dames in the Den.
Boys in the Shed, the Dames
Boys
in
in
the
the
Den.
shed.
That's a wrap.
See you later, everybody. See
Have a
you
good week,
at
everyone.
the hour. Bless you.